me, we have a legend in the boxing world, one of the most renowned and best spoken pundits out there, Mr. Steve Bunce, ladies and gents. Steve, you've been with us for a couple of hours now. You've done a few interviews with some of the boxers. You've watched the training and the workout session. What do you think of how it's been run?
I'm stunned at the quality, to be honest with you. I knew we had a good setup here. I knew Danny and Al had a good setup, but I wasn't quite sure of the quality. And what I've seen is quite amazing, because in the last couple of years, a lot of the white collar boxers I've seen, warriors I've seen, all look like fucking Floyd Mayweather, and they're shit. So you have to be really good to look like Floyd Mayweather. But if you're shit and you try and look like Floyd Mayweather, you're even more shit. So I like the idea that everyone here has got fundamentals. There's a straightforward fundamental. So if you're an 11-year-old kid and you walk into an amateur boxing gym, you'll learn to get your feet right before you can do anything. Once you've got your feet right, you'll learn to throw a jab. Once you've got the jab and your feet right, you'll learn to throw a right hand. Then once you've got your feet right, your left jab, your right hand, you learn to throw a left hook. Then after 2 or 3 months, someone will start teaching you other things. And it seems to me, looking at a lot of the boxers here, that they've been afflicted the same way. They've been told they've got to learn to box. They've got to learn to do it. And I don't know, obviously most of you didn't walk in here when you were 11. You've all got jobs, you're all adults. Some of you got kids. Some of you are having kids, that type of stuff. And I'm quite amazed, and I'm really impressed by, in fact I'm a bit stunned by it, to be honest with you, because if someone had told me you're going to go to a white collar boxing gym and see 120 novices, all of them trying to stand upright, all of them trying to throw a left jab, all of them keeping their hand tucked up tight to their chin, I would have told the person you're mad. I would have bet money I wouldn't have been impressed, and I'm really impressed today. And it's good, because without those basics, you can't do the stuff you've seen on telly, and you can't do the stuff you dream about, and you can't do the stuff you do at home in a mirror. Now, if you ever film some of that stuff you do at home in the mirror when you get home pissed and you play it again, it's comedy gold, your feet are shit. You've got to do things the right way. You know, and that I think, I don't often get told I'm lost for words because I get paid for speaking, but I've got to tell you, I'm really, really impressed by how you're going. Of course, there is one caveat attached to that. As you're sitting in that changing room just up the road here, and your friend goes out to fight, and she's good, or he's good, and he or she comes back, and they've lost, and their nose is bleeding, and suddenly you go, fucking hell, what the fuck is going on? You've got to overcome that part. Now that's the stuff that these guys, these coaches can't teach you. But what they can do is they can put enough confidence in your own ability that on the night you'll be able to get up with your bandages on, put your gloves on, make that walk through 50, 60, 70 of your friends, 500 or 600 other people, and get in the ring. And once you've done that, you'll be able to call yourself a boxer. And I can assure you, anyone that goes on Twitter and sees the trolls or watches some of the abuse that pops up on Instagram or Facebook, they're not boxers, they're abusers, they're trolls. You'll be able to say at the end of that night, win or lose, black eye or no black eye, I'm a boxer, and you can go to bed that night with just a little bit of extra pride in your heart.
Just to go back to something you said early on about walking into a gym at 11 years of age. I have to tell you, you're in Clapham. Most of the girls at 11 years of age, that's when they're having their kids. So these guys that come down here, they do come week in, week out. They really do put a lot of effort in. We started this probably 7 years ago, and it has gone from here to here. The professionalism has, you're absolutely right. I've seen it tenfold, 100-fold improve. The coaches are always dedicated. The fact that they've grown with it as well. The money it raises, but the awareness that it raises, and also it does bring kids off the street. And we know at the moment how bad things are out there. You see the bigger fights, you see the mega fights. For you to come down here today and say what you said to these people, let me tell you, it touches everybody, not in their heart, but in their heads as well. For that, Steve, I've got to thank you. Ladies and gents, what do you think? Yeah. I'm going to chuck one at you now that I probably shouldn't, because someone's asked me to do this. Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury.
A year ago, when Tyson was recovering in and out of rehab, 26, 27 stone, and his head was all over the place. I went out to see him last February in Marbella, and he was down to about 23 stone, and he was still all over the place. Didn't know if he was coming or going. But something happened in Los Angeles at about 10 o'clock at night in that 12th round. It's the greatest 12th round I've ever seen live. It's maybe the greatest final round of any heavyweight fight ever. And when he got up, when he was unconscious, when he was down, when he was flat on the floor, and I was standing at ringside with my hand on one of the ropes, looking at him, his feet were where that guy there is, where the camera is, and I'm watching him and thinking it's all over, the jig's over, and he rose. And if you look around then, it just wasn't. I know that everyone watching that on TV was screaming, jumping up, throwing punches, cuddling people. Fucking hell, it was like a collective moment. It was fantastic. And something happened to him. He transformed in that fight. And right now, if I'm a heavyweight, I don't want to touch Tyson Fury, because he is like, and you've seen him over Christmas. He's lost another stone. He's got chisel. It's unbelievable. That kid, and it was in that 12th round. It was in that fight. And it was in that moment when he got up. And when he got up, there was just a look in his eyes. And I feared then for Deontay Wilder, and I fear for anyone that fights him, because right now he is the most focused person in the world. And he wants to do things. I mean, when he talks about, I want to build a homeless shelter for 1,000 people, he means it. And I assure you, there's every chance he will build it. Not for 1,000 people, the fucking government can't do that. But he might just build one for 50 people in Morecambe. He might just do it. And so in that sense, and I'm not saying Joshua's not motivated, because Joshua first walked into a gym, he had a tag on his ankle, and Joshua was a bad criminal. People forget that. There's something's been airbrushed to make Joshua into some, everyone thinks he got a parking ticket and went to prison. No, Joshua was a bad enforcer for drug gangs, And he said that, but we tend not to look at it. He says it, he tells what he was. He says that when I went to the European Championships in Romania, the night before we went out, I was out all night, I was stoned out of my bollocks. He says that. We just choose not to hear it because we want Joshua to be squeaky clean. Joshua's not squeaky clean, so he's got motivation as well. But there's just something about Tyson Fury at the moment. He is ferocious at the moment, and he's committed, and he's a decent human being, and he sings well, and he wears pink shoes. What's there not to like?
I have to agree. I'm not going to spin a story, but we actually worked with him last year at the Easter time, and we actually put a show off for a week because one of the boxers' little boys got run over and killed. Tyson stayed in the area down in Southampton. On the night when I came down in the dressing room with him, we gave him his fee, because he doesn't do it for free, it's a job to him. But he gave us £2,500 back, said please give that to the family of the little boy who got killed. I wasn't allowed to mention that anywhere, because he said I want people to think I'm a horrible person, because that's what Punk Bones was saying. But the real man, you're absolutely right, I think he is the best heavyweight. I've been saying it for a long time. So then, just to show you can be right down there, and the next minute you're up there again. If you drag yourself there, you've got the right mental attitude. And that I saw today with these guys in the ring, what they put in the weeks and the months in here, it showed in the ring today.
And I tell you what, there were one or two kids in the ring today that might not be back. There's one or two people today got clipped, and there's a look in their faces, a look in their eyes, and I'll have good money. There's one kid in particular, one man, he'll never be back in this gym again, because he found out something tonight. But you know what, it doesn't matter. He trained for 3 months, and he got in the ring, he got hit with a shot, and there was a moment of awful recognition in his face. No problem, no shame in that, at least he did it. So you're absolutely right about people growing when they were in the ring today, but there were, as I said, there was at least one, maybe even two, that I think as we're going forward, you're going to get their tickets back for the show. There's nothing wrong with that. It's human nature. Any questions for Farkle? Anyone want to talk to me? Oh, bollocks to them. Listen, it's been a real pleasure being down here today. You've been fantastic. I can't even tell you. I mean, I know you think I'm joking. I'm so impressed. And I do a podcast on a Monday. It's free, so it's not a plug. With BBC 5 Live, and I'm going to make sure we talk about this tomorrow, because it's quite amazing. Thanks very much. One quick thing, Rory, go on, Rory.
Who's your favourite coach out there at the moment?
That's a tricky one. I like what Jamie Moore does in Manchester because he gets to know his fighters and he's a human. There's not that many. I like Freddie Roach for if he's working with a good fighter that works with him. It's an interesting thing. There's a lot of plastic coaches at the moment, guys that are. I just wrote something about this 2 days ago, or yesterday. There's a lot of coaches that have a great run. As soon as the fighter loses, they get slung on the scrap heap. Then a fighter has a one win with a coach. First fight of a kid happened with Sergey Kovalev last week. Buddy McGirt. Buddy McGirt, who has been a mercenary whore motherfucker for the last 15 years, he goes in the corner with Sergey Kovalev. Kovalev beats Alida Alvarez. Suddenly, Buddy McGirt's a genius. 6 months ago, he was a dog. And in 6 months he'll be a dog again. So it's it's a strange thing. I mean, I think we're short a few genius coaches that maybe existed, but I don't want to sound like an old man. So. Hey, listen, once again, thanks very much for having me.
President, please.